Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I was genuinely just scrolling on Twitter and this news has just broke and it is, absolutely devastating. You've read the title, you've seen the thumbnail, you know what we're talking about. But if you know one thing about me, you know that I am a huge Mariah Carey fan forever, like forever. I love Mariah so much, and the news has just broke that from People Magazine, I guess they got the exclusive. Mariah Carey confirms her mother Patricia and sister Allison both died on the same day. My heart is broken. I appreciate everyone's love and support during this time. Oh my gosh. So I just want to read what this exclusive, says and kind of what's going on. And as a Mariah Carey fan, the lore with her family is something I've seen a lot of people talking about right now, and I've been seeing a lot of people kind of inaccurately talking about things. And now it's important to acknowledge that while people may have complicated relationships or relations, with family members or with friends or whatever, in a moment of them passing, and specifically in such a devastating two of them, in this way, it's completely wrong to kind of underestimate or insinuate that someone should be mourning less about something because they had a rough relationship with said person. And I've been seeing a lot of people have those, thoughts and tweets go viral, kind of being like, oh, well, her and her mother weren't close anyway, or her and her sister weren't close anyway. And I think as well that losing anybody in general, obviously people are able to mourn however they deemed that relationship. But the reason I wanted to film this video was because I was seeing an overwhelming amount of people saying things like that. And while it can be true that your relationship with the person was not something that they were your best friend or the best mother or the best sister or whatever like that, you can also mourn the relationship that could have been, if that makes any sense. And I really hope I'm not sounding stupid here, but you are able to mourn the dynamic you wished you had, or what could have been, or if things would ever have changed. And I just think it's incredibly disrespectful the way a lot of people are talking about this. I want to read this statement. Obviously this video will never make it to Mariah or anyone on her camp, but I'm just like sending it out there. I mean, how much admiration I have for her as a person, and to go through something like this. I mean, I saw Mariah only a couple weeks ago in Vegas. I flew out to see her. And you never know what someone's going through. And there's not a lot of details out there, nor do I feel that anyone should care necessarily to speculate on details. But there's something really sad to think that I only saw Mariah a couple weeks ago, and you never know what is going on in someone's life. And I'm going to leave it like that because I'm not speculating, but all I'm saying is just, it's crazy how little you know about other people and what they're going through. Mariah Carey's mom, Patricia, and sister, Allison, died on the same day over the weekend. People can confirm. My heart is broken that I've lost my mother this past weekend. Sadly, in a tragic turn of events, my sister lost her life on the same day. The Grammy-winning singer, 55, said in an exclusive statement to People, I feel blessed that I was able to spend the last week with my mom before she passed, adds Mariah. I appreciate everyone's love, support, and respect for my privacy during this impossible time. No other details, including Patricia or Allison's cause of death, are known at this time, and I also don't think that we need to know any of that. I think that's an overstepping of a boundary, and I don't think people need to know that, unless said person who's going through this feels the need to share it. Patricia, who was previously married to Alfred Roy Carey, who was Mariah's father, or who is Mariah's father, he's, no longer alive. She's a really beautiful song, by the way, called Sunflowers for Alfred Roy from her Charm Bracelet album. It's one of my favorites. It's a song dedicated to her father. It's really, really, really beautiful. You will always see on his anniversary and birthday that Mariah will post sunflowers, and it's a really, really, really beautiful song. So she was a Juilliard-trained opera singer and a vocal coach before the couple welcomed Allison, Mariah, and their son Morgan. The parents later divorced when Mariah was 3 years old. Mariah's relationship with her mother, from whom her vocal talents were inherited, was complicated throughout her entire life. Like many aspects of my life, my journey with my mother has been full of contradictions and competing realities. It's never been only black and white. It's been a whole rainbow of emotions, she wrote in her 2020 memoir, The Mourning of Mariah Carey. Our relationship is a prickly rope of pride, pain, shame, gratitude, jealousy, admiration, and disappointment, continued Mariah in the book. A complicated love tethers my heart to my mother's. So here we see Mariah with her daughter and Mariah and her mother. And, Mariah's done a Christmas special in which she's singing with her mother, and it's really beautiful. And also Mariah's memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey. It's an incredible read, and I think it is genuinely one of the best written, which isn't shocking considering how great of a songwriter Mariah Carey is, but it's one of the best written celebrity autobiographies that I think ever are out there. And the way she describes her dynamic with her sister, her relationship with her sister, her relationship with her mother, what it has taught her in motherhood, I think is really, 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 it's an incredible read. And I would 100% recommend it. And I mean, people who broke that story, also have Mariah Carey on Betrayal and Beauty, of relationship with her mother. It's a complicated journey. And, this kind of talks about how Carey discusses how she always wanted to be her mom's light and make her proud, saying how much she respected her as a singer and a working mother. I loved her deeply, and like most kids, I wanted her to be a safe space for me. Above all, I desperately wanted to believe her, she writes. But ours is a story of betrayal and beauty, of love and abandonment, of sacrifice and survival. I've emancipated myself from bondage several times, but there's a cloud of sadness that I suspect will always hang over me, not simply because of my mother, but because of our complicated journey together, Carey continues. It has caused me a lot of pain and confusion. Time has shown me there is no benefit in trying to protect people who never tried to protect me. Time and motherhood have finally given me the courage to honestly face who my mother has been to me. Like many aspects of my life, my journey with my mother has been full of contradictions and competing realities. It's never been black and white. It's been a full rainbow, as she said. So this is Mariah's memoir, obviously. So Patricia's mother was, against her marrying a black man, let alone having children with one. Carey reveals that was an abomination. It was the ultimate humiliation. My mother's marriage to my father was a beyond betrayal to her mother. It was a high crime against her white heritage, punishable by excommunication, she writes. In my grandmother's view, my mother loving my father made her a bottom feeder, procreating with the lowest human group and making mongrels, me and my siblings. Needless to say, my grandmother completely disowned her daughter. And now Mariah has, in the moment of this book, posted so many bits of the book that were about her mother, and was very, very, very openly talking about her mother, and even in interviews was talking about her dynamic with her mother. And Out Here on My Own, she released in 2020, from her album The Rarities, which went and coincide with the memoir. And it's a really beautiful cover of, obviously, Irene Cara, her song Out Here on My Own. And it is beautiful, and it is basically about her dynamic with her mother, is the way that she released the song. It's really, 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 really intense. Carey reveals that there is no way to easily overcome the rejection of one's mother, and questions her mother's motivation for marrying her dad, wondering if it was an act of rebellion or a cry for attention. To be honest, I don't know if my mother ever wanted to get married and have children so young. I could understand her wanting to create a safety net, a new family of her own, to continue blazing trails, leaving her backward home and family behind. Carey thanks her mother for the exposure, encouragement, and lifelong lessons she's given her, but wonders if Patricia held her talent against her even at a young age. She recalls a particular instance as a teen with her mother shouting at her, "You should only hope that one day you become half the singer I am." Still to this day, what she said haunts and hurts me. I don't know if she meant to cut me down to a size or if it was her bruised ego. And this is kind of a part of an interview as well when she was promoting the memoir.
That I've been talking about for a long time. So it's like people are like, oh, she's talking in this book now, but I always felt like I was expressing that.
Your family life was complicated. I want to focus on your mother because I thought it was interesting when you said, listen, jealousy comes with the territory when you're famous, but when it comes from your mother, it's very painful. Can you talk about that dynamic? I didn't know that your mom was a singer too.
Yes, my mother is a very talented singer. She went to Juilliard. She's an opera singer. I've always credited her with exposing me to music, with really kind of saying, don't say if I make it, say when I make it. So I think, it's such a complicated relationship.
It is complicated. And I also thought that it was very difficult to me to read because here you are, you're starting your career and your mom's singing and she says, you should only hope that you could be half the singer that I am.
It definitely had an effect on me. I don't even know that she would even remember that. Yeah, that one statement did live with me for the rest of my life, though. So it's like you have to be so careful what you say. And that's why with my kids, like I really try to acknowledge their talent and acknowledge when they, draw a picture for me or sing or dance or anything that they do. I want them to know that it's also all about them and their happiness.
After reading your book, it seems like you want to be a different kind of mother. Am I correct about that?
Yes, you are absolutely correct. Again, for me, it's very important that the kids always feel safe and that they feel seen and heard and that they know that they are loved unconditionally, and that no matter what, I'll be there for them. And that is very important to me because, growing up and being alone in the house or alone in these dangerous situations was traumatizing,
Tommy Mottola played a big part in your life.
And so obviously she has spoken very much so about her mother, and that where there are bad situations and then there's good, and it's acknowledging a complicated relationship. And I think in terms of Mariah's sister, she has spoken about her sister, like from way back in 1998.
Is still an issue for you today?
It's something that I grew up with, and it's something that stays with me, and I felt like I always had something to prove because of that. And I think that's one of the things that made me who I am.
Mariah was a toddler when her father left the family. Her mother, an opera singer, was forced to take whatever job she could find, even when that meant working nights and leaving Mariah alone. Then there were the dark secrets, the ones she doesn't talk about much, but hints at in her lyrics. Shouldn't know. Part of this had to do with your sister. It's on the record that when you were very young, she was on drugs. Yes? Okay. That she was a prostitute? You must have known this. What was it like for a little girl?
It was a very difficult thing to see. But I think what it did for me was provide me with an inner strength and something I knew that I didn't want to be. That's why I will never be a promiscuous person. I will never be on drugs. I'll never be too out of it to know what I'm doing or getting myself into. And because I saw these things growing up, I went the other way.
In a world that seems so...
And so we've seen Mariah's mother, and I had seen this. This is Mariah's sister, Allison, who also, just passed. It has been a thing in the media for a very long time that Allison would release these videos in which she would kind of beg Mariah for money or kind of insinuate that Mariah isn't helping her and all these different things. And this is one of the last ones, we have. And there's also something to note in this where if you choose to help your sibling, even though you have a bad relationship with them, you can only help them so much. And I hope enough people are acknowledging that as well in all of this with the shocking news that a person can only be helped if they want to be helped continuously. This is all around just incredibly devastating. This is one of the last videos we have.
Hi, I'm Allison Carey. Unfortunately, I'm living without teeth. I haven't been able to replace them. I wish I could replace them. but I just don't have the money. So this is where I stand. It's almost impossible to get things done without teeth. That's all I really had to say.
Mariah Carey has had a tumultuous relationship with her older sister, Allison Carey, marked by periods of estrangement and public disagreements. Allison has faced personal challenges, including substance abuse and legal issues, which have strained their connection. Mariah Carey has attempted to support her sister through these difficulties, but has also discussed the challenges in their relationship, particularly in her 2020 memoir, The Meaning of...
And that's also something to note, just how much Mariah has Mariah has tried helping and helped her sister as well, and has been very open about that. And it's not Mariah's sister to ever save someone, and this story is just devastating. And I guess the reason I wanted to talk about this was just I was seeing a lot of really bad takes on Twitter. Not that anyone should even be having a fucking take on this, because this is just incredibly devastating, but I kind of want to... I've spoken in the past very much so about family dynamics, and I've been very open about the fact that I don't believe that just because someone is family that you have to love them, or you have to have a relationship with them, or you have to support, defend, anything. But that doesn't take away from the fact that when you lose that, you're able to mourn the good parts of your relationship. You're able to mourn the difficult parts of your relationship. You're able to mourn what the relationship could have been in the future and in the past. And I just had to speak on it. Like, I had to speak on it because, again, I was just seeing so many irresponsible takes on this. And it's like, it was almost like people were unable to recognize that you can mourn something and still be very honest about what it was like for you growing up. And Mariah has been so transparent in the public eye about her dynamic with her mother and sister, and that in no way takes away from how fucking devastating this is right now. And I'm sending her so much love. And again, just be respectful of people when they're going through something, and don't use what they have told you publicly against them, and instead support and acknowledge that as humans we are complicated, and relationships are dynamic and tumultuous and crazy, and they make sense and then they don't make sense. And it's like, just be respectful of that. So anyways, Muckers, love ya. And I will see you in my next one. And I hope you're all doing very well. And sending Mariah and her family so much love in this time. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.